All right, everybody. Right now, I am on one of those easy runs, steady state aerobic. I would even say this is a bit slower because I'm talking in front of a camera. I'm naturally going to go a bit slower. But I want to talk about that topic that everybody's always itching at, which is how do you actually get faster at running? So really, to get faster at running, it's not just about going hard every single day or about trying to go to the track every single day or run hills every single day. It's actually about trying to train multiple systems within your body to work at different paces for different reasons. So let's break this down. So you've got the obvious one that people think about when you're trying to get faster, which is track work. So you go to the track and you're actually running intervals. That's like your 200s, your 400s, your 800s, and you can even do longer intervals like mile repeats. If you're really trying to train for bigger distances, cross-country runners, marathon runners, you can do 2 miles or even 3 mile repeats. I don't really do those too frequently. But those different track work intervals between the short and the longer intervals are trying to train your body to get more comfortable at running at faster paces. So think you're working your VO2 max, you're training your body to be able to take in more oxygen and your blood to be able to work with more oxygen at faster paces. You're working on your turnover speed and you're actually training your system and your muscles to be able to move faster. When you can do those intervals at faster paces, especially when you bring in less rest between your intervals, it makes everything else easier. Your 10K, your marathon pace, even your tempo runs, your aerobic runs, everything just starts to feel easier. Now moving on, you have your tempo work. I kind of lump this together with tempo to threshold. But your tempo work, that's when you're going out and you're picking like a select distance, such as maybe a 5K tempo run or a 5 mile tempo run. And you're gonna do that at about 80 to 85% of what your body can handle before you hit what's called your red line. So you're working below your threshold and you're training your body to be able to clear lactic acid before you get to your red line. So if you can run for say 3, 5, even 7+ miles at a tempo pace, we call that comfortably hard. So it is hard. It's not, you don't feel like you're redlining. You don't feel like you're busting your butt so hard that you're like racing someone in the middle of a 5K race. That's what you do when you race. But for a tempo, you're getting close enough to that it feels comfortably hard and you can hold it for sustained periods of time. And what that does is over time, it increases your fitness. And again, just like track work, you're not going quite as fast as track work, but you do it for a longer period of time and it makes everything else feel easier. Now that brings me to something called threshold, which kind of similar to tempo, where you're gonna go a bit faster. That's like, maybe like if you're going out and you're trying to see how fast you can run a 1 mile time trial, something like that, or closer to actual race pace. It's similar, but you're getting closer to your threshold, which is like how much lactic acid can your body actually produce before you redline. So if you're running at threshold pace, you're getting pretty close to your red line. You can't really run all that much faster. Now we got steady state aerobic runs. Now I know you're thinking, I just said this is a video about how to get faster, but steady state aerobic runs are important for getting faster. Again, I would call this like a steady state aerobic. I'm running about a 9-minute pace. I would typically run these quicker, but again, I'm talking the entire time because I'm producing a YouTube video. I've been running for a pretty long period of time in my life, so I'm definitely more used to running while talking. But if you're not as used to running, or you're either a newer runner, not quite as experienced, you might find that it's very challenging, maybe nearly impossible to run at a steady state while talking like this. Now, of course, you can probably tell that I'm like a little bit tired. I've literally been talking the whole time. So that means I'm forcing my body to work harder to bring in oxygen. But I'm still able to do it. As you can see, I'm not like gasping for air. But long story short, the steady state aerobic runs, the reason why I'm bringing up this whole idea of talking while you run is because over time, once you improve your fitness, you do want to be able to talk while you run. And that's kind of a test to see, are you even in like a steady state aerobic run? Those are important for recovery. It's important because, like, let's see. I was gonna see if my watch could show me. My watch likes to send like random notifications that take away the data. Anyways, it's showing that I'm running like a 129 heart rate. It's a little bit higher than I would have liked, but again, I'm talking the whole time. That's gonna raise my heart rate. But regardless, not too bad. I try to keep my steady state aerobic runs probably between like 115 to 130. So you want those so that you're training your muscular and your aerobic system to run for longer periods of time. You're actually building more mitochondria every time you do this. So your cells and your body can actually take in more oxygen. And if you do enough of these throughout a training cycle, you get more mitochondria. Those are like the powerhouses, I believe, of the cell. And as you train your body to be able to have more of these attached within your body, you can actually bring in more oxygen and you can do more work. So these steady state aerobic runs are actually important for getting faster. But, and it's a big but, that's why I brought up that track work, the tempo work, threshold work. They're not actually gonna make you faster. They're just important in the grand scheme of getting faster. You still have to do speed work. You have to do tempo work. And there's other systems that I think are really helpful as well. And that would be fartlek runs and hill repeats. So a fartlek run is when you are actually running at a varied speed. So you're gonna go out and you're gonna run at a slower pace, like a steady state for a while. And then you're gonna go faster and you're gonna pick it up. When I do fartlek runs, I tend to pick like telephone poles, but you can also like mix up your fartlek runs with like a time interval. Like I'm gonna do a steady state run for like 6 minutes, and then I'm gonna run at like a tempo pace for 1 minute. And then I'm gonna run for 1 minute at more like a threshold pace. Not quite a sprint, but a much faster pace. So that would be a fartlek run, and it's actually training your body to move seamlessly between different systems like I said, tempo, threshold, and a steady state, all within one run. So there's different ways to do it. Like I said, you can use telephone poles, or you can just go out for like an hour and change between, 6 minutes, 1 minute, etc. So fartleks, I think those are important. I don't necessarily know that they're as crucial as something like tempo and speed work, but I still think they're important. And then you have like hill work. Different ways to do this. You can either like choose a specific hill and go out and do sprints up and down that hill. That's probably the more traditional way that I learned to do it when I was in track and field, where you're literally just going up and down this hill. If it's like a big hill, like a quarter mile or a half mile, your cross country coach might have you do that like 5 or 10 times or even more, depending on the level of training, like if you're in high school versus college or whatever, depending on how much volume. The other way to do hill work, and this is what I tend to do more these days, to be honest, is I incorporate more hills within my training, whether it is training or planning more hills like during my long runs or my tempo runs. So you just plan them throughout the week. So I personally don't know that, I'm not saying there's a better way to do it, but throughout the volume of your week, it's definitely good to get hills in. So you can either plan it as specific hill repeats or just spread it out throughout your other work. And the other really important piece of the puzzle, and I guess I'm getting outside the scope of just how to get faster, but I'm just talking about different energy systems, is your long run. Those are important. So your long run for me, I might go out and do 15 plus miles. And I'm gonna do that typically at a steady state aerobic. I'm not saying it has to be at a steady state aerobic. You can go faster if your body can handle that. But you wanna be careful not to redline. I'm not gonna go out and try to do my long run at a tempo pace unless my body is really ready for that and recovered and that I know I'm not gonna get hurt. So I'm most of the time gonna do my long runs at a steady state aerobic. And you're training your body to maintain a pace for a select period of time. You're training not only your body and your systems, but you're training your mental toughness to be able to run for a long period of time. So there's a lot of good benefits to doing a long run, and most serious runners are going to incorporate a long run into their training. So I'd say those are the primary different systems and different types of runs that I would say are pretty important for trying to get faster. So to review, you've got steady state aerobic, you've got tempo, you've got track work, like intervals, you've got threshold runs, like time trials and races and things of that nature. Then you have hill work, you have fartlek running, and long runs. Now that's a lot of different types of runs. I'm not saying that you have to do all of those every week. The way that I tend to formulate my week is I'm gonna pick several of those different systems that I think are most important, and I'm gonna spread them out. So like right now, my cycle, for example, I tend to do track work on Saturdays. Sunday and Mondays, actually I guess I'll start right at the top just to make it easy. So say we start our week on Sunday. That was yesterday. I did a 7-mile steady state aerobic run. Today is Monday. I'm planning to do probably between 7 to 9 miles steady state aerobic. It'll probably be between 2 runs. Yesterday, my run was all together. Today, I think it'll be split up. I just have a really crazy work day. So most likely gonna do another run in the evening and target between 7 to 9 miles steady state aerobic. Tuesday is tomorrow. That's gonna be my long run. So I'm gonna target about 15 miles of steady state aerobic. Wednesday is gonna be more steady state aerobic running. Probably gonna be 2 different runs again. Thursday, that's gonna be my tempo run. I'm gonna do that in the morning. I'm gonna target between 4 to 5 miles at a pretty fast, comfortably hard tempo effort. And then I'm probably gonna do another shorter steady state aerobic run, like between 2 to 4 miles in the evening on Thursday. Friday, very heavy work day. I'm gonna shoot for another steady state aerobic run. It's gonna have to be in the morning because I work all day late into the evening on Friday. And then Saturday is gonna be my track work. So I'm probably gonna go to the track and do things like mile repeats, 800s, 400s, 200s. So that's basically what I think is important for trying to get fast. If you got something out of this video, you can subscribe for more as I train to try to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So thank you so much for watching. And lastly, if you want to share any stories from your own personal experiences running, racing, anything like that, please go ahead, and I'd love to hear from you. If you're a fellow runner / creator, I would be happy to check out your channel and see what you're creating. So I'll catch you guys on the next video.